Greetings, everyone, and welcome once more to the Dracovin Empire. Are you ready to dive back into the world of Golarion, the setting for the Pathfinder role-playing game system? I hope you are today, as we're going to be heading there, learning about their ancestry and their creature. Mine is very interesting to talk about, but also our reputation is Yeti! So if you're ready to learn all about Yetis and Golarion today, take my hand. I am your host and guide here at Dracovin. I will be leading you through a gateway that I've opened up to Golarion, where you can learn all about the Yeti and visit them, see their ways and such and such. But please do remember to give me a little bit of tip before we leave, like subscribing the bell over the YouTube side of things, and let me know what you think about Yetis. How would you use them? What do you think about them? And this kind of interesting juxtaposition of the myth about them, and actual reason. Anyway, Golarion waits, as does the Yeti. My hand is outstretched. Take it. We're going. We've once again arrived in Golarion. Woo! Are we ready to talk about the Yeti today? Because it's going to be an interesting one to talk about these creatures of both myth and legend and myths. But there are sources to discuss here. Now, yes, you can always dive into the Bestiary 1 from 1st edition, but the Bestiary from 2nd edition also works. It is refreshed, and I think the most up-to-date version of it is in the Monster Core. But as you can also see down there, there is a adventure down there, the Karma Reclaim, which is one of the Pathfinder Society scenarios. To Judge a Soul Part 2, Karma Reclaim, also deals with Yetis to a small. So, again, all those. I will tell you, we'll discuss all the things here. So, Yeti. What's a Yeti? Now, this artwork for Yeti does appear in Monster Core. It's from the original 1st edition Bestiary, too. There was different art for when the 2nd edition came out. Also known as Abominable Snowman. They're mysterious. They're terrifying to a degree. They inhabit the high elevations of Golarion. They live in small tribes, are stealthy, strong, believed to be mythological in a lot of ways. That's kind of the basics about it. They have a myth about them. But there is more to them than just that. Truth, which we'll dive into. Talk about the myth, though, first. The stories of Yetis, where they come from. Because they're rarely seen, they are mythological in many ways. And they are seen, they're very stealthy. They live very well in these high peaks and amongst the snow. It is said that they go down from these snowy things to raid, steal livestock, feed their unsatiable urges for slaughter and destruction. If you step on the foot on the mountain, a Yeti-ruled mountain, these abominable snowman, monstrous fur-covered humanoids that these strange blade tracks in the snow. Monsters that hunt, that kill, that slaughter in these remote peaks, hiding amongst the snow, being disguised. That's the myth. In a way, it's true, but most it isn't. What do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about the truth. Yetis protect the world rather than hunt the other denizens. They guard eldritch portals that link the mortal universe to other strange dimensions and realities. Yeah, up in these mountain places where strange portals to strange alien realms come into, realms of alien living nightmares, fiends, or worse that could emerge in the world through ancient store doorways, stone arches covered in snow. The Yetis guard these. They're tribes. They're groups of them. They protect the universe from otherworldly creatures. A security force of these tribes that carve beautiful stoneworks and protective talismans to help them fight this. But, like all things, and especially like the influence of these portals, some can succumb to the horrors, taking on bloodthirsty urges, horrific behavior, basically becoming the monsters they fight against. Those that are consumed by the outer worlds are driven from their clans, forced to wander. And that myth of the abominable snowman comes from these exiles. Those that sometimes, when exiled, often when exiled, embrace the corruption. They embrace that corruption that exiled in the first place, becoming more powerful, more deadly, becoming true monsters. And of course, the legend continues. So those that turn from the guardship, that are corrupted by what they practice, become some of the monsters they're trying to stop. These exiles, they don't have a lot of treasure. They don't have gear. They slaughter, leaving snow. But the tribes, the clans of Yeti, and their stone, they're beautiful. They have a culture, a people, art. If you should encounter a tribe of Yetis, know that they will be peaceful. Know that they have a job. They're single ones. They're individuals. Now you are in trouble in a lot of ways. They are quite dangerous. There's the original second edition picture. I like the other one, which they went back to the monster. They're masters of stealth in the snowy biome. They're fast. They can camouflage, evade detection, leave ambushes. They have mental fortitude, actually, also, against fear and manipulation, especially in their dreams. But exposure to nightmare-inducing orgy portals can eventually crack that powerful mental fortitude and drive them mad and bloodthirsty. Sometimes. So, yeah. And that corruption doesn't leave them is the problem. Yes, they get rid of them so they don't have to worry about them. But it's sort of like, yeah, maybe you're not an eldritch monstrosity, but you're, embracing that and going mad and being out there and being dangerous. That's the problem. But those exiles are sent out. Now we know some locations on Golarion. We do. And we know of some individual Yetis that are out there. Sometimes minor. This is the only one known named Yeti here, Glacial Rose. Karma Unclaimed, Reclaimed book. That's the one we're going to mention. In the various mountain ranges through Avestan. A monastery of reclusive Yeti monks within the World's Edge Mountains. In the Kodar Mountains of Irisen, a Yeti tribe helps prisoners escape from the mines of Lost Hope. In the Crown of the World, in Wall of Heaven in TNZ, the Impossible Kingdom of Vrudra have many that are drawn by the psychic emanations of the meditating Gruda monk Mendek near the peak of Gimpad and the Lofoparat Mountains. So there are Yetis all over the place. And they do what they do best. Guard against eldritch monstrosities from their high mountain tall peaks. Because of the one adventure path, and adventure, Rasputin Must Die from Reign of Winter, where people from Golarion travel to Earth during around the time post World War I, in that era. Again, I've talked about how the time periods kind of match up in Golarion versus Earth. It's when we're talking about it being 47-25 in Golarion, it's our past. If they would go travel right now. But in Siberia, on Earth, there are Yeti-like creatures called Zemlemers, have darker fur than common Yeti, and live amongst the Ural Mountains. So, on Earth, there's some Yeti-like creatures. There's still a little magic left. We know that from Rasputin Must Die. It hasn't completely gone away. Just not much of it. A little bit of mysticism to the world. But I thought that was a neat little thing there. But, hey. There's the Yeti. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot on the Yeti. We have some basic stuff. We know they live in these tribal clans. And we know they are master stonemasons. We know they have a penchant for guarding against eldritch incursions. Having stone arches that are keeping these portals in line and guarding them, trying to seal them away. We know that they are in the high mountains of Golarion. This is all really good basic information. We don't know a lot about that tribal culture. We learn a lot from them when, well, we deal with the monsters. Those that fall into corruption, banished out of the mountains of the river, to slaughter, kill, and truly become the monsters that legend said. And that's the unfortunate thing is, them as a people, just there isn't a lot. They still tell an interesting story, and are an interesting creature to talk about. They have an interesting history, an interesting place in the Golarion world. I wouldn't have talked about them if we didn't. But again, it's one of those things is, I would love to see more. Know more of their crafts, their people, the way they do things. They certainly aren't a playable system, but they are a people that does deserve some respect for what they do. Yeti played an important role in Golarion, a job. You know, I hope you kind of got a good idea and enjoyed learning about them with me today. But yeah, we'll leave that there. I think this is an interesting topic. I wanted to talk about this because I talked about them when I talked about Wall of Heaven. I learned about Yeti a lot more. I knew Yeti were in Golarion and Pathfinder, but I just didn't know to this degree. So, hey, you know, hope you enjoyed joining me. Anyway, remember to give some support here. If you want to see me live or check me out anytime, my content is over on Twitch or YouTube. The schedule for when I'm either live on Twitch or uploading to YouTube always goes on my social media. That's my Discord, my Blue Sky, my X/Twitter. It gives you updates on the schedule, when things are uploading, life stuff, all those kind of things. Sometimes a cat pick. If you're joining me live over on Twitch, that's recordings like this, live plays of TTRPGs, Fall of Avenswell, Wednesdays at 8 is the thing on the current schedule. If you want to join us for that one, that's Pathfinder 2nd Edition game. Hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Pathfinder, talking about that. My own unique world, but still, Pathfinder nonetheless, will go up on YouTube. And of course, Discuss Tabletop Saturdays at 6, about News of the Week. Those are big things. I do shout them out. I say, hey, check us out. Look at us. See this stuff. It's really cool and fun. And more than just the informational things, check them out. And of course, you know, like you start ringing the bell on the YouTube side of things, really helps out. Helps with the algorithm. And let me know what you think about Yeti. Do you have any more stories, like, of your encounters with Yeti? Have you just fought the monster versions, or have you used or encountered any adventures, the tribal version of dealing with these weird Eldritch portals and stuff like that? Because there's some really cool stories that probably could be told there. Again, you don't have these huge pictures in a lot of ways, and it'd be nice to have a little bit more of them, but, you know, we got some decent pictures of you. Anyway, until the next time, we talk about our ancestry, something else in Golarion, Pathfinder, or something else in another tabletop game. I bid you all out there a deep and wonderful farewell.